Good day, everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of the HJC podcast, powered by HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. I'm your host, Ryan. I'm the blog administrator, and today is the All Leafs podcast. The All Leafs podcast, a great chance for all the Leafs fans around the world to celebrate the team, and unfortunately, at the same time, it also opens a platform for all those Leaf haters to say what they want, but
good.
We definitely have some Leaf haters and some Leaf lovers on the show today. But before we get started, be sure to listen, download, share, and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, and of course, HockeyJerseyConcepts.com and more. As I said, today on the show, it's a All Leafs podcast. We're talking about the Stadium Series jersey, which leaked on HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. We'll also be getting into the Daryl Sittler Maple Leafs jersey that surfaced from his 10-point game. And we'll do all our regular features like Fake or Authentic, the Mailbag, Throwback Throwdown, and your chance to win a free HJC sticker. On the show this week is Monday's writer, Shawn. How's it going in Eastern Canada?
Hey, Ryan, long-time listener, first-time caller. We don't know.
And
honestly, we can't make up our minds.
Yeah, February in Eastern Canada. I was out there when I was like 4 years old, but that was a summer trip, and I haven't been back since. So I wouldn't actually know, but I wouldn't think it's entirely pleasant of February.
No, it's either minus 20 and sunny out, or 8 degrees and pouring rain.
And that's in the Celsius, folks. That's in the Celsius. Also on today's show, probably let's put this guy in the Leaf hater category because he is a Red Wings fan. But Tuesday's writer, Ben, how's it going, Ben?
I'm probably not doing as well as Phil, but other than certain events that unfolded tonight, I'm well.
So as a Wings fan, what are your thoughts on the Maple Leafs? You a Leaf hater, or are they just neutral to you?
I have to admit that one of the best games I've ever watched was the Winter Classic in Ann Arbor, and you just can't have hard feelings to a team that fights you so hard. Play such a good game against you. Okay,
so we'll put you in the middle. We'll put you in the middle of this debate. Also on the show this week, Wednesday's writer Phil, and I know Phil is a hardcore Leaf lover, right, Phil?
Okay. Anyway,
I think I can't see Phil, but I think he might have his Leaf jersey on, don't you, Phil?
Yeah, I don't know if this collar inset on this jersey doesn't appear orange to you.
Is that a Jeff Finger Leafs jersey?
No. It's a John Tavares Leaf jersey.
Preparing for the future.
Yeah, watch him go to the Habs.
Oh man.
Yuck. Oh, my God.
How's it going this week, Phil?
I'm doing all right. Let me just say this: the night we're recording this, the Islanders won one of the most crazy games I've ever seen.
Yeah, and the 4 power play goals.
Four power play goals on one major penalty. And I'm pissed that I didn't go, but at the same time, didn't want to spend money on the team, and at the same time, I'm also doing this podcast. So it's kind of a fair trade-off.
I was trying to keep this podcast 100% Islanders free, but Phil just kind of pushed his way right in there.
You had me on the podcast. You can't do that. I'm sorry.
That's a fair point. If Phil's coming on the podcast, there's got to be something Islanders going on. All right, we're all here. We're all wearing our blue and white face paint, so let's get started. And, of course, we got to get into the Maple Leafs Stadium Series jersey, which leaked this week on HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. And just straight up, let's take a look at the jersey, or here's what it looks like. It's a white jersey. It's got the same blue style collar that the Leafs road jersey has. It's got 2 broad stripes going across the chest, blue broad stripes, and those stripes are also on the arm. It would be as if you took their Centennial Classic jersey, made the silver blue, and made the blue jersey white. That's pretty much how it goes. It'll be interesting to see what people think about this jersey. A lot of it's too plain comments I've seen, but let's see what the writers think. Shawn, we'll start with you. Your initial thoughts when you saw this jersey.
I love it. After last year's Centennial Classic jersey broke the ice on the Leafs having a chest stripe. I'm in full favor of it when done right. And this is the classic Leafs striping on the chest. The logo looks great. It's simple. It's plain. I do wish that they had added a small amount of blue on the hem. And shout out to HJC artist Joe D for a very good prediction of this. His concept from Thursday's post was about 98% accurate, I think.
Yeah, and he included a hem stripe right along the bottom of the hem. And yeah, it improves the jersey. Definitely improves the jersey. Ben, your thoughts when you saw the jersey?
Yeah, put me down for 2 plain on this one. There's really nothing to it. It's just a couple of stripes. What I really can't stand is that it's a white logo on a white jersey. I think it should have been blue to stand out. I think it would have fit with the stripes better. And then the lack of hem, it really kills this jersey. Yeah, definitely. As we saw from the Thursday concept that was on the post, that was made before the jersey leaked. But a hem stripe would improve it. Phil, thoughts on the jersey when you saw it?
See, when I first saw it, I was like, okay. I wasn't too thrilled, but like looking it over and over again, notice how, although the stripes are thicker, it's the same pattern that you see on the regular Leaf set, minus the hem stripe, of course, and then carried across the chest. We don't know if it's going to go all the way around the body of the jersey, however.
Yes, that's true. We haven't seen the back yet.
We haven't seen the back of the jersey. We haven't seen a jersey with numbers on it, though I will assume it is the same font that you see with the Leafs right now. So the jury's still out, in my opinion. I think it's an okay jersey because at the same time with the Toronto Maple Leafs, you want to be simple so that you can have that classic look, right?
Yeah.
And yet it's a bit of a modern take, despite being still very clean.
It is clean. It's almost too clean. When the jersey, when the jersey first came out, I think I convinced myself that it was going to be a really good jersey, and I convinced myself, with the equipment, it's going to look fantastic. But then the more I thought about it, a jersey to be fantastic, you shouldn't have to see the equipment with it. So as a whole ensemble, that's fine, that works. But for just the jersey, you shouldn't have to see the equipment to make it fantastic. So I've thought about this. It's a little plain, but I'm a Leafs fan, so that does factor into it. And I would get it, but I'm not going to rush out and get it the first day it's available. And I might just get it because I want my collection to be complete. And that might be the only reason. So I'm still kind of on the fence. I don't think I could hate this jersey just because it's a Leafs jersey. But it not disappointing, but still there's empty space on there that could have been filled.
Better than the Capitals jersey, that's for sure.
Well, we'll definitely get into that. We'll see what everyone thinks about that. Let's give a rating of this jersey, either however you want to rate it, out of 5 out of 10 stars, grades. Shawn, you're up first. How do you rate this jersey?
I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. I don't like it as much as the blue one last year, but that jersey, I think, is just going to get better with age. I am going to get this jersey. I'll probably get it, within a few weeks of the game. It will be telling to see what the Leafs do. I want to see white gloves. I'll be honest with you. Vegas has proven that it works. I don't want white pants. I want white gloves.
White gloves and white pants with this you could call them the snowmen. That wouldn't be so.
You have to admit it would look better than the pajama jerseys. Like somehow.
Oh, I don't know.
Even with white pants, they're still better than the pajama tops.
The 2007 pajama jerseys have not aged well either.
Vesatoskala.
Oh, man.
Yeah, letting in a goal from 200 feet against the Islanders.
Oh, crap. The Islanders, what have I done?
Rob Davison.
Davison.
He's coaching somewhere now. Assistant coach somewhere. But that's his claim to...
I don't even care where he is right now.
That's his claim to fame.
Yep.
180-foot goal on Vesatoskala. All right. Ben, what's your rating here on this Leafs Stadium Series jersey?
I'll give it a C-. I mean, it's not terrible. I'm glad they took the silver off. I guess they could have done something worse to it, but it just reeks of being under-designed. Like, someone put about 5 minutes of thought into it and then said, good enough.
Yeah, maybe it's Lou Lamoriello's reluctance to have another third jersey. Because if you think about it, this is the Leafs' 5th jersey in 2 years 2 seasons. So, and he was always against an alternate jersey when he was with the Devils, even so much so that when they were in the Stadium Series, he wouldn't let the team wear anything except for the retro jerseys when all these other teams were going with a modern look. So it might have hints of a reluctant general manager who's not really willing to do anything, but was forced into it. Phil, what's your rating for the Leafs Stadium Series jersey?
Okay, so since I rate my stuff on a percentage scale, I'm going to say maybe 82% because it's a solid jersey. There's still obviously much still to be seen from this jersey, but at the same time, I like the simplicity and how it fits with the Maple Leafs history in terms of jerseys being simple on their end. But at the same time, could there be more that could be done to this jersey? Absolutely. Could there be stuff that takes away from this jersey? Yes, we'll see about that when we get a full look at the jersey.
Yeah. I'm going to rate this one a 7 out of 10 for me. I could kind of agree with Ben where a blue leaf could have worked, but at the same time, I think a white leaf does the trick. However, there's empty space on this jersey. There's room for more. There's room for the Toronto Arena's T logo shoulder patch, which they wore in the pants in the Centennial Classic. There's room for a hem stripe, as we saw in Joe's concept from Thursday's post. If they stick with what they did for the Centennial Classic, which is put the TV numbers between the arm stripes, I think that's a nice touch.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the Bruins did it for their Winter Classic jersey in 2016. I like that addition, but to me, there's empty space on this jersey. Not a bad jersey, but there is empty space. And that empty space, when Shawn said the 2007 pajama top jerseys, I kind of associated the two because there's a lot of empty space on here, but we'll have to see where this goes. We still need a look at the back of the jersey and how they're going to do the numbers. And of course, we need a look at the full uniform to complete our impression of this thing. So we talked about this, hinted at it before. Who looks better, Washington or Detroit, Shawn? Washington or Toronto?
Toronto, regardless. I think that the Leafs did something very predictable. This is not an outrageous jersey, but it's nice. And for one thing, I would take no hem stripe and a nice chest stripe over no chest stripe and a big fat red cummerband.
Yeah, the Capitals went a little too formal for this game. Ben, who looks better, Toronto or Washington?
Toronto could have came out in their practice jerseys and they'd still be better than Washington. It's just bad.
They should have they're wearing, by the time you hear this podcast, if you catch it on the Saturday, tonight they're wearing military appreciation jerseys for warm-ups. They probably could have worn those for the game and maybe even looked better than Washington. Phil, who looks better, Toronto or Washington?
Well, let's put it this way. You have one team that has a nice classic look, and you have another team that, although it does have a very nice white shoulder yoke, and I've made it known numerous times on this blog that I'm a sucker for white shoulder yokes, but when you have a red lap band around your jersey, like, you don't have to show it off as if you're 300 pounds and trying to lose weight. Okay, just simplify that, make a nice hem stripe, and there you go. Other than that, it also, now that I think of it, kind of looks like those awful USA World Cup of Hockey Navy jerseys that they had, where just the one red stripe on the arms.
It's similar, but I still think that would have been better than what Washington had.
It would have.
Yeah,
it would have.
I'm saying Toronto looks better for this game.
Stripes included.
Yeah,
Toronto could make every bad design choice they have in their history. So Ryan's going to say the rounded numbers from the late 90s on a pajama top with the TML logo on the shoulder.
Oh.
Yes. So Ryan's nightmare Leafs jersey, you'd still look better than the Capitals, in my opinion.
Oh, man.
I hate that Caps jersey. It's Toronto.
Shawn, you just built the absolute worst Leafs jersey of all time. Well done.
After this podcast is over, I'm going to put all of that together into reality and submit it into the blog.
I like two of the it should be noted I like 2 of those individually. I like the round numbers and I like the TML patch.
Right.
I don't like the pajama top. It's like the one thing, I draw my line at that when it comes to bad design is the pajama top Leaf jerseys.
Yeah, I convinced myself that was a good jersey, and I bought the home and the road, and I got them numbered and everything. Luke Shen and Matt Stajan on those jerseys.
Oh my god!
And I
I have the
convinced
road and I'm getting John Mitchell.
Those guys are
Johnny
trash.
Mitchell. Yeah,
John
convinced
Mitchell, I
myself.
think he's still in the NHL.
Is he?
So good for John Mitchell. Yeah.
Last I heard, he was with the Rangers or the Avalanche, something like that.
Colorado.
He's still with Colorado. Okay.
He's one of their best players last year, but that's not saying much.
So
Actually, he's in the German league now, but he was in the NHL up until last season. So
good for Johnny M. Good for Johnny M. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna go with you guys. The Leafs look best in this game, and both of these jerseys could have been improved with treatment to the hem stripes. If Washington shrunk theirs or got rid of theirs altogether, and if the Leafs added one, then it might be a more even fight. But Washington's jersey is just so.
So in other words, if the Leafs took a bit of Washington's hem stripe and put it on their own jersey,
Yeah. Washington could have shared a little bit of that hem stripe.
there's plenty to go around, guys. Come
Just-
on, play nice, share.
Washington guy pulling off strips from his stomach and handing it out to the Leafs. That's ridiculous. So let's take a look.
That's what we do here.
Let's take a look at an overall look at this game. If you consider both jerseys, the logo for the game, I'm sure you've probably seen pictures of the stadium. Put that all together in a package and compare it to the package of other Stadium Series games. Where does this one kind of fit in the whole scheme of things, Shawn?
Second from the bottom, which I mean, it's hard to reach the bottom in the Stadium Series.
And who is the bottom?
To beat 14-15 is ridiculous.
Which one?
No, 14-15 was just LA and San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the LA San Jose one, yeah.
Yeah. The LA Anaheim one, LA looked great. New York, the Islanders looked great. Chicago, both teams looked great. Minnesota, both teams looked great. Colorado, both teams looked great. Last year's was the best. That was fantastic. That was a beautiful game. This is a major step down, but the logo was great. We haven't had a bad logo so far for the Stadium Series.
Yeah. Ben, where do you rank this overall package in the whole Stadium Series?
Overall, it's really low, based mostly on the Capitals jersey. Toronto was okay, like I've stated. I think what really saves it from being in the bottom of the trash can is that logo, which is just gorgeous.
And Phil, where are you putting this and compare it to other games?
I'm putting this on par with the Detroit and Chicago game because I hated Chicago. Oh, not Detroit, Chicago. Detroit and Colorado, excuse me. And because I hated Colorado's jerseys. Those were awful, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Of all the Stadium Series jerseys to hate, that's the one you hate?
Well, hold on a second. Let me finish. Those were bad. Those were not the worst, but those were bad. I like the San Jose Sharks jerseys from that 14-15 game in a vacuum. I like the LA Kings jerseys in a vacuum. With the full setup, it looked awful with the white pants and everything. The logo is the only redeeming factor of this Stadium Series game, and it's a great logo. Arguably one of the best logos we've seen in the entire Stadium Series history. But I can't rank it higher than tied for third to last.
Yeah, there's a couple points for me that are going for it. The intrigue to see what the stadium's going to look like. Generally speaking, it's a smaller stadium based on what the NHL likes to do outdoors. We're looking at 36,000 seats, and based on the email I got this past week, it looks like Washington's having trouble selling it out on their own.
Because it's not even close to Washington. It's Annapolis, Maryland.
And for someone who's never been there, anyone know how far that is from Washington?
I want to say it's about an hour out.
Okay. All right.
I'll double check that right now.
All right.
This is the first Stadium Series game between two playoff teams in a while, too. I think the last one was Minnesota and Chicago. And then before that, it was the Pittsburgh, Chicago, LA, Anaheim. And I think also the Islanders Rangers game. Those were two playoff teams.
No, the Islanders were not a playoff team.
In 13-14, yeah.
No, they weren't.
No?
No.
Was that not the year Nabokov took them in?
No, that was the year after that when Tavares got hurt during the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
By the way, 43 minutes out. That's 32 miles away.
Okay, that's not too bad. That's really not that bad.
Yeah, it's a horrible drive from Washington, but
Well,
Yeah, the Beltway. It's due east from Washington if you look at it
Yeah.
on a map too.
and for 36,000 tickets, I mean, the NHL should have been confident enough to put the game there and think that this was going to do better. But for ticket prices and a drive down there on such short notice,
especially since most people take the train to the game in Washington because it's right above the station.
Okay, there you go. So it's just, I
Are we
guess,
getting an alumni game?
no
No.
alumni game for this one.
Oh, darn.
But the Leafs just brought out their alumni for the Centennial Classic, so
Yeah.
it's not really a draw.
I just missed Cujo.
More Cujo. Give me more Cujo. So the
Cujo.
the logo of the game looks fantastic.
The Coliseum.
The logo of this game looks fantastic.
Everything else sucks.
I'm intrigued by how the stadium looks. Leafs jersey is average. Capitals jersey is terrible. No one's really buzzing about the game. So there were the San Jose LA game was kind of irrelevant in my world. I didn't care about it, but you know what? I actually liked those jerseys. I was a fan of both teams' jerseys. The one that really was irrelevant for me was Detroit, Colorado, and I thought Detroit's jerseys were just they weren't Red Wings jerseys. They were just made up and thrown in this kind of big game. So yeah, second or third from the bottom for this one for me. Who knows? It could look amazing on TV, and the game could end up being fantastic, and it moves up the list. But we'll see. So that's the Leafs Stadium Series talk, and of course, remember HJC leaked that HockeyJerseyConcepts.com, which some sites seem to forget when they pick up our story, but that's okay. We're plugging
that just happens in sports media all the time.
That's how it goes.
I know ESPN doesn't credit other sources, so expect the same thing if we are to break the other side of the jersey and show that off.
Yeah,
The Score did credit us, so thank you to The Score.
Yeah,
You guys credited us.
Bar down from TSN.
All
TSN credited us. Yep.
Yeah, and a few other sites. What's the one? Russian Machine Never Breaks.
Oh yeah, the Capitals SB Nation site. Yeah,
we didn't get a direct wink, but they did embed our tweet. So
we did credit them on the Capitals jersey.
Yeah, that's how it goes. So
right.
Anyways,
that's how it goes.
Stay tuned to HockeyJerseyConcepts.com because you never know what can happen.
We will have that story up there, by the way, but
yeah,
it's just a matter of when.
All right, coming up later in the podcast is your chance to win a free HJC sticker. You got to listen to the podcast to find out how to win, but that's coming up soon. You're listening to the HJC podcast every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. Listen, download, and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. All right, so another topic that came up this week was the Daryl Sittler 10-point game jersey, which has surfaced at Maigret. Sorry, I don't know how to... Maigret?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So Daryl Sittler's 10-point jersey, and if you saw the article on tsn.ca from Frank Saravelli, you got a glimpse into how they authenticate the jerseys. They did a lot of photo matching, plus the guy there just had a lot of great general knowledge. It's definitely worth checking out. Find it on tsn.ca. A private collector sold it in a group of 90 jerseys to Maigret. And he estimated that the jersey would be sold for about $300,000. This is U.S. And that's based on the highest priced jersey, which was Paul Henderson's 1972 White Canada jersey, which sold for $1.2 million U.S. 4 or 5 years ago. So it'll be interesting. He does plan on selling it, but he wants to try and sell it to someone who's going to put it on display for lots of people to enjoy. Which I guess the best option there would be the Hockey Hall of Fame, but the Hockey Hall of Fame isn't going to drop $300,000 on a jersey. A couple other points from the article. There were 4 or 5 owners in the past 42 years. And of note, the jersey was made by Rawlings, the same company that makes the baseballs. So just those are some points that I took from the article. Shawn, what was the most interesting thing that you took from this article?
The fact that it's bounced around so much, because this is one of the holy grails of Leaf legend. And this is something that transcends generations. Daryl Sittler scored 10 points, and that's something that is respected across the league. He was one of the last well-known Leafs for about a decade and a half. And on top of that, the photos of the game are well known. These are things that I grew up looking at. These are things that it's like, what's the record for? These are things I'm sure kids today are learning about. And it's just amazing that 4 or 5 people had this, and it didn't end up in the Hall of Fame. It didn't go missing.
Yeah,
but it's exactly. It's somewhere in the middle. It's not quite we lost it forever. It's not quite it's in the Hall of Fame. It's somewhere in the middle, and I hope that whoever purchases it appreciates it.
It is impressive that with the reported 4 or 5 owners, that it was in the condition it was in. If you watch the video, I was expecting a more beat up jersey for a 40+ year old jersey, but definitely interesting. Ben, what'd you pick up the most from this article?
I think it was interesting how they were able to identify it. Just painstakingly looking at photos, just minute details that you would never notice unless you were like explicitly looking for them. And I think the fact that this is what everyone is hoping when they go into grandma's attic.
Yeah,
like, this is everyone's dream, and it came true for this guy. So good for him.
Anytime I've stopped at a garage sale because I've seen hockey jerseys hanging up on a hanger, this is the dream. Oh, what's this? Oh, I don't know, some old Leafs jersey. And the dream is, oh, I'll give you $10 for it. And then you take it to the Hall of Fame and be like, look what I got. Mm-hmm. But instead, it ends up in the hands of Maigret. I wonder how much he paid for the group of 90 jerseys.
Oh boy!
Like, if you're even if
$5 Canadian.
Ooh.
Even if you valued each jersey at $100, and based on the fact that there was a Sittler jersey, game worn in there, you'd have to think it was an old collection. But that's $9,000, and that's assuming each jersey is a $100 jersey.
That's going to be a massive profit just on this one jersey alone.
Yeah. So I would have to, if I'm the collector and I value those jerseys, I'm going well over 10,000 trying to sell that. But definitely interesting. It would be absolutely ridiculous if they came in possession of the collection because the original owner passed away, and then maybe the wife is just trying to get rid of the collection and looks up online who to give game worn jerseys to. And of course, the guy would just play it off like, yeah, I'll take those off your hands, no problem. We'll find them a good home.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Be interesting. It'd be interesting to see now, also on the Maigret website, if any of the old jerseys from that collection start popping up. I think it would just be interesting. I don't care who the player it is, but I think it would be really interesting to own a 40-year-old game-used jersey just to see how they were made, what the fit was like, what the quality was like. That would be really interesting to me. Phil, what was the most interesting thing you took away from this TSN article?
Well, just from seeing all the articles in general, just how precise the photo matching was between seeing the jersey and, like, I'm assuming the one main photo that they have that they used to photo match it was Sittler looking at goal with the goalie looking in the same direction, looking behind it, the net to see where the puck was, with another Bruin behind him. But seeing that amount of detail put into this, that's a lot of hard work, and this is like real life Pawn Stars, basically. It's like, yeah, let me. I got an expert in Leafs jerseys, so I'll talk to him.
Yeah. And just hearing that,
that's after the sale.
Yeah,
to migrate.
Yeah.
Just hearing that he was able to get in. There's some sort of Hockey Hall of Fame archives that you can, you requisition what photos you need, and you head on in there. Like, I have a couple Leafs game-worn jerseys from nobodies, Keith Auley and Joe Colborne. I would love to call up the Hall of Fame and be like, yeah, give me all the 2010, 2011 Joe Colborne photos you have. I'm ready to photo match my jersey. That's some nerdy thing that I would love to do.
Oh, I get what you mean with that. I have a preseason game-worn Josh Olson Florida Panthers jersey. Josh Olson was he was a career minor leaguer. But he cracked the NHL in 03-04. Scored like one goal.
And you want the picture?
I want to see if I can find this jersey.
Yeah.
Because it's got the markings of where the assistant captain was, but it was preseason. So it was tape. And it's covered in board. It's the residue of the tape still in the jersey.
Oh my God.
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is beautiful.
That is
the thing's covered. It's covered in board marks. It's in. I mean, the logos and numbers are in terrible shape, or in great shape, but the jersey itself is beat up, and it's like beautiful. Like there really is an aura of this. And when you talk about owning a 40-year-old jersey, the problem with that is that the price for a game worn jersey, in my experience, goes up exponentially when you get out of the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
Because prior to the 90s, Rawlings, to my knowledge, started making jerseys for the NHL. Now this proves this wrong, but based on what I know from NHLUniform.com, he was with the St. Louis Blues in the mid 80s. And this is just based on looking at photos of the jerseys on their site and who the manufacturers were. But this throws something else because I didn't know Rawlings went that far back.
It'd be, again, another great reason why I would love to get my hands on a 40-year-old jersey. I want to see this jersey, and that's all I want to do. I want to see it, and I want to touch it, and I don't care if 12 security guards surround me with guns pointed at my head, if that's what it takes. I want to see this jersey, and I want to touch it. I have no intention of stealing it or ruining it or doing anything.
And Hockey Hall of Fame will let you steal Alex Suglobov's Leafs jersey, I'm sure.
By the way, let me just say this. I love how you have more of an intention of touching this Leafs sweater than touching the actual Stanley Cup.
Well, I've touched the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I've done it.
And that's bogus at the Hall of Fame. Don't get roped into the home of the Stanley Cup because it's not there that often.
That's the backup
when it is there.
Yeah, that's the backup at the Hall of Fame most of the time, and they try and tell you that there's 2 Stanley Cups. No, there's 1 Stanley Cup, and then there's a second Stanley. Yeah, and that's not it.
Copy that's identical to it.
Yeah, and the way you can tell is the way to do it is go to the 83 Oilers, and Peter Pocklington had his dad's name put on the Stanley Cup.
You mean the 84 Islanders? Or 84 Oilers?
84. No. Yeah, sorry. The first year they won and beat the Islanders.
Okay.
This is a story.
It's not my fault that the Oilers lost to the Islanders in 83.
And then they beat them in 84.
Yeah. Fair is fair.
Yeah.
You have 2 people on the podcast who grew up in Toronto, and I think we both had the experience of your dad coming in and going, well, the real Stanley Cup's at the Hall of Fame. You want to go?
Yeah, you got it. Like now, I think if you went now in February, you may actually find the real Stanley Cup.
Sure. Let me scrounge up a couple $100 and see and make a trip up to Toronto
just to see the real Stanley Cup. Anyways, that's how you tell the spelling mistakes and all the errors are on the real Stanley Cup, and the second Stanley Cup, it's all pristine and perfect.
Corrected. And I think actually the 81 Islanders are misspelled, just the team name itself.
Oh yeah, I know. There's Chris. I think Chris Drury, either in 95 or 2001, he's misspelled. Lots of cool errors there. Yeah. So, anyways, that's just a little history on the Stanley Cup, and of course, I don't know how talking about Daryl Sittler's 10-point night got us to the Stanley Cup, because Daryl Sittler was nowhere close to the Stanley Cup during his career.
He could have been if they kept Bernie Parent, but hey,
that's a radio call-in show for the 70s.
There you go.
That's it. Leaf Talk Radio existed in the 70s. Every call would be, now why didn't we keep Bernie Parent again?
And Harold Ballard, he gets rid of everyone. We could have gone all
Ballard
the way.
Would be answering the calls.
Yeah.
And nowadays we just joke around about a guy getting traded for a bag of pucks.
Carl Brewer.
That was back in the day. Bag of pucks. Yeah. All right, still to come in the podcast, as I mentioned earlier, your chance to win a free HJC sticker. You got to be listening to the podcast to win. It's now time for Throwback Throwdown, and because this is the Toronto Maple Leafs edition of the podcast, Throwback Throwdown involves 2 Toronto Maple Leafs jerseys. These are the most recent alternate jerseys involved in this Throwback Throwdown, so we're not throwing back too far. It's the 2008 alternate, and this is the replication of the 1960s jersey, white jersey, blue yolks, double blue stripes on the arms and hem with the old 1960s logo. And that's going up against the 2011 Leafs alternate, which is a replication of the 1967 Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. That's the blue jersey, broad white stripes outlined with 2 white stripes, and the 67 Canada Leaf logo on the front. So let's start off with the 2008 alternate. Shawn, your quick review of this jersey.
This jersey is extremely nostalgic. It's a beautiful jersey. It's one of the few white alternates that I think really should have been white and stayed white. The team had it from, I think, 1998 until 2011 off and on. And I'm glad they brought it back with the transition over to Edge. And if they ever feel like bringing it back once in a while, go ahead. Like, this is a really nice jersey.
Yep, it's solid. Can't beat it. Ben, your thoughts on this 2008 jersey?
This is a really cool look. I like how they made a white alternate look. I liked how the cuffs went with the yoke, and the stripes look really cool with the throwback logo.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, the reason why eventually it went away was because you're asking a team to bring their colored jersey on the road with them just to play the Leafs who want to wear their alternates. Phil, your thought of the 2008 alternate?
I kind of like it, believe it or not. Like I've already mentioned, I despise most anything Toronto Maple Leafs, including these jerseys, which were included in the series that caused that hatred. But other than that, it's a very nice jersey. Again, simple, follows the same pattern that the Leafs had at the time. I do think that blue comes up way too high on the cuffs, but other than that, it's a very nice jersey, and the yoke definitely balances out those high blue cuffs. And
of course, this jersey was featured in, what year was it? 2002, 2003, the 7-game.
2002, when Darcy Tucker got away with murder.
Darcy Tucker's a beautiful man, and we will never insult him on the podcast again, or I will call him personally.
I will punch you in the face personally.
And of course, the Leafs went on to win that series 4-3, backed by
every team at home won.
Backed by the stellar play of Alan McCauley and Gary Roberts, and I think Matt Sundin was out for that series.
You're hurting my childhood, Ryan.
But you also had Alex McGillney towards the end of his career too.
McGillney, yep. That was a solid.
Robert Reichel and Jonas Hoagland and Dmitry Yuskevich and Karl Pilar and
then the Leafs lost in the second round to either the Devils or the Flyers. I can't remember which way. It might have been another 7-game series.
No. 102, they went to the conference finals and lost to Carolina. The year after that, they lost to New Jersey when Ty Domi was being a not very smart player in that series against New Jersey.
So in conclusion, the Leafs beat the Islanders. That's what we're talking about here. Let's get back to Throwback Throwdown. We're talking about the 2011 now. This is the 1967 replication. Shawn, your thoughts on this?
I mean, it's one of the classic Leafs jerseys. It's what they won their last cup in. It just never left an impact on me. I think it's because I didn't like the idea of the Leafs wearing 2 blue jerseys. On top of that, Dion Phaneuf, Jonathan Bernier.
Well said. Well said. Ben, your review of the 2011 jersey.
If you look back in Leafs history, I think you'll find the common thread that goes through them is lots of stripes, and I think this one is just too tame to really stand out in Leafs history. There's just something about that logo too. It looks off. It just doesn't look right to me for some reason.
And Phil.
Well, I do agree with Ben a little bit about the logo. The one thing I like about this jersey a lot more than the regular set is that it actually matches the sock pattern that they had. That classic 3 sets of 3 stripes of sock on the socks, and you had the same exact pattern, just one set, on both the hem and the 2 arms. Also, on top of that, the font that was used for that jersey was a little more thinned out than the regular set. So I do like that a little more than the regular set at the time.
And I just want to say on this one, this is my favorite jersey of all time. And it was before it became a Leafs alternate. And then when they put it on the Edge template and they added that faux kind of woven wool collar to it, the 2011 Toronto Maple Leafs alternate jersey is my favorite jersey of all time, despite the bad era of Leafs hockey that it's associated with. But still.
Okay, so we know where you're voting.
Yeah, can't beat. So let's just go ahead and chalk that one up for me. Usually I break ties, but I'm gonna put that one down. 2011 will win every single Throwback Throwdown for me. Shawn, who are you choosing here? 2008 alternate or 2011?
I have to choose the 2008 alternate for almost the exact same reason you did. It's one of my favorite jerseys of all time. Every time I boot up my old copy of NHL 04 and NHL 03, the Leafs are wearing that jersey and that jersey only. And on top of that, it holds up. It's a new-ish jersey. The logo redesigns were nice. I wish places would stop using that logo instead of the current Leafs logo because they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would totally welcome this jersey back in the ID0 template.
Ben, who do you like in this one?
I'm gonna go with the 2008 alternate. It looks like it just embodies the Leafs to me more. And if you take away the Stanley Cup from the 2011 one, you just really doesn't leave much left to it in terms of nostalgia.
If you start taking away the Leafs Stanley Cups, what do they have left, Ben? We're not all
Anton Strawman.
Oh man. You go around the league. This is for another podcast. You go around the league. I think I've mentioned this before, and probably look at each team and look at what former Leafs they have and how they sucked in Toronto and thrived everywhere else. Phil, who you choosing here?
So Ryan, normally your vote breaks ties. Now yours is causing a tie. 2011.
2-2. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. So if you're listening to this podcast, here's your chance to break the tie. Leave comments and tell us which jersey is better, the Leafs 2008 alternate or the Leafs 2011 alternate. And we'll talk about it on next week's podcast because this Throwback Throwdown has ended in a first ever tie because you guys made me vote first. That would have been painful.
Also, while you're at it, give us a good rating.
Subscribe, please. All right, here's your chance to win a free HJC sticker, and for your chance...
Break the tie.
Yeah, break the tie. For your chance to win a free HJC sticker, simply go onto Twitter and tweet about this podcast. You have to provide a direct link to this podcast, and be sure to tag us in your tweet at HockeyJC, and a winner will be randomly selected from those that have properly tweeted about this podcast. That's your chance to win a free HJC sticker. Fake or authentic? It's time for Fake or Authentic. This is where I give a few statements and the writers say fake or authentic. I've prepared a few doozies today based on the fact that this is the Toronto Maple Leafs podcast. The Toronto Maple Leafs theme podcast. Don't get this confused with the generic vanilla Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, which the Leafs put out. This is the HJC Leafs podcast. But I've got a few quality statements here, which should get Leaf haters riled up and Leafs fans just gushing blue and white. Here we go. First statement, and this is the one everyone loves. Fake or authentic? Toronto is the center of the hockey universe. Shawn, fake or authentic?
Authentic.
That's
Hall
right.
of Fame is in Toronto. The Toronto Maple Leafs are in Toronto. That's all that matters as far as I'm concerned.
And where do they put
the baseball center of the universe is Cooperstown, then Toronto is the center of the hockey universe by definition.
Where'd they put the last two World Cups? Toronto. Yeah.
Okay. Quick question. In what universe is Cooperstown the center of the baseball universe?
In Toronto's center of the hockey universe. That's where.
Andy,
we'll discuss that
Toronto.
later.
Get your baseball out of here. But good point, Shawn.
He brought that up. Okay, don't blame me. And by the way, it's the Bronx. Thank you.
All right, here we go. Ben, lover of Hockeytown, fake or authentic? Toronto is the center of the hockey universe.
You know what? I'm going to have to go with authentic on this. I mean, the center of the hockey universe, it can't be anywhere else than Canada. When your career's over, like, where do you want to go? You want to go to Toronto.
That's been proven time and time
what
again.
About this? There's a replay. Like, where do you call? You call Toronto.
You call Toronto. Great point, Ben. That's fantastic.
We should note, though, the state of hockey is Minnesota. Hockeytown is Detroit.
A universe.
They're not centers. They are merely parts of the hockey universe that are accepted.
And the most valuable U.S.-based franchise is in New York. And it's not the Islanders.
But it's not the Islanders. But they're rebuilding, and they don't know how to rebuild. So, you know, and TC's not here, so we can make fun of the Rangers, Dan Blackburn.
Oh, man.
If we can make fun of him whether he's here or not.
If TC was here, he would lay into the Rangers right now with their letter to their fans. Listen, we're not gonna lower ticket prices, but we are gonna suck for a little bit. So stick with
For the
us.
next 5 years.
Yeah, so that we can raise ticket prices later. All right, Phil, here's your chance. Fake or authentic? Toronto is the center of the hockey universe.
You guys are going to hate me so much because the center of the hockey universe is not Toronto. This is fake. It is Montreal.
Oh, I do hate you.
Montreal. And
How?
How? The best team in the NHL historically, with the Montreal Canadiens winning 24 Stanley Cups. You have the best fan experience in Canada in Montreal at the Bell Center, right?
Amazing.
And they put on a fantastic show. And not only that, but ticket prices are reasonable. They are the team of the people.
Amazing.
As opposed to the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are, it's basically Madison Square Garden North, where you see nothing but corporate suits everywhere.
Amazing. Everything you just said was wrong, except for the corporate suits. That's very true. Best fan experience in Canada is Winnipeg.
Okay, fair.
That would be tough to argue.
Fair.
The best team in NHL history. I'm sorry, but those Detroit 90s teams, the Colorado Avalanche 90s teams, and the thing about those teams is they didn't have to tell the NHL, we need local-born players to play
five
for us
in a
because
row.
Some parler français.
That's true.
The 5 cups in a row won by the Montreal Canadiens.
Cheaters.
They're
cheaters.
4 cups in 5 years won in the 70s by the Montreal Canadiens. Before the Islanders.
70s Montreal Canadiens were great. I will give full credit to those teams.
Historically speaking, as a whole, Montreal has 24 Stanley Cups, and therefore they are the best team in history.
That sounds so much like a Yankees fan.
Best
Funny.
I am a Yankees fan, so shut up.
The Islanders, Oilers, Leafs, Habs, and Red Wings have all won multiple Stanley Cups back-to-back, and I'm sure I'm missing other teams in that list. But I can assure you,
2 years ago,
that you know why they don't call and Pittsburgh. But I don't want to count them. The point is that I don't want to do it because HJC talks too much about Pittsburgh. There, I said it. The point is, the point is with this is that they don't call Montreal in a goal review, and Montreal's irrelevant as far as I'm concerned in the hockey world, and has been off and on with the exception of 2014-15 and 2000. I'm sorry, but Stefan Quintel and Patrice Brisebois are not Matt Sundin, are not Doug Gilmour, are not Wendell Clark.
It's true. League offices in Toronto. End of story. This has been proven.
They have offices in New York, too. That doesn't mean anything.
Well,
that's where Gary Bettman lives. That's his lair.
Yeah, because he's afraid of Canada.
You want to take credit for that? You can have credit for that.
I'll take credit for the fact that he grew up an Islanders fan.
All right, we're off course here. We're off course. Authentic. Authentic. Toronto is the center of the hockey universe, and nothing else will be said on the topic.
You guys are all full of yourselves.
All right, let's go to the next one. Of course, Toronto Maple Leafs themed. Fake or authentic? Something outrageous and completely new would have been better for the Leafs to wear for the Stadium Series game. Shawn.
Fake. It's not the early 2000s or the late 90s, If there was a time for that black TML jersey I've been suggesting since day one, that Ryan, which was made and sent into the blog that Ryan loves so much from that artist, what's his name again? Chad Kilger? Yeah, Chad Kilger's jersey. There was a time and a place for the Leafs to be outrageous, and they did. They had round numbers, and they did well. So
I think there's a Nickelback joke there somewhere with that name.
Chad Kilger, Chad Kroger.
Chad Kilger. Great Leaf. He loved the athletic therapist department here, I think. Anyways, moving on. Fake or authentic, Ben? Something outrageous and completely new would have been better for the Leafs to wear for the Stadium Series.
I'll have to say fake just because I can't think of any examples where any team has done something outrageous and new and done well.
Islanders 14-15. Alternate.
Wasn't bad. That's a fair point, Shawn. I'll take that.
That was a good jersey.
Full credit. That was a nice new design.
Did you say full credit? Did you give yourself full credit?
No, to the Islanders.
Full credit to the Islanders for actually making a good alternate jersey for once.
I thought Shawn was giving himself full credit for a great point.
No, the Islanders had 3 great alternates.
Shut up.
Oh, Shawn.
Stop.
We're talking way too much about the Islanders here on this Leafs podcast.
Stop inviting Phil.
All right, Phil.
I didn't go to the game tonight.
Fake or authentic on this?
Okay. I will say that it is indeed fake because, again, as crazy as the Stadium Series has been historically, it's still the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they have that tradition of being very stingy and being very clean with their looks. So something like what we've seen right now kind of fits their whole idea of design. So I don't think it would have been better to wear something a little crazy. I think it would have been better to have Washington wear something a little crazier. But I'm not opposed to what the Leafs are wearing for this at all.
Yeah. Okay. And I would have to. That's fake for me too. Yeah. They didn't need to go crazy, and they didn't. And I think time will show that their jersey is just fine. Just fine. All right. Fake or authentic? Final statement for fake or authentic. The Leafs are a box office draw when they come to play your team. Shawn, the Jets are in Western Canada, so this is. I know what your answer should be. Fake or authentic?
Well, if the Leafs come and play the Mooseheads, I don't think that's fair.
Well, that's not even relevant.
Happen, but that's not fair.
Hey, you got the Marlies. It's close enough.
Then the Marlies. I'll speak of it as a Jets fan who goes to Leafs games and cheers for the Jets, and every other game I go to, I cheer for the Leafs. I know that if I lived in Winnipeg and I wanted to go to a Winnipeg game, it would be against Toronto.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time. They are one of the big teams to see. They're one of those teams that I feel like when you get outside the division rivals, you want to see them. They're, for most of history, have been a very entertaining team to watch. And even when they're not, they're hilarious to watch.
All right, Ben, fake or authentic? Leafs are a box office draw when they come and play your team.
Yeah, this is authentic. I mean, Leafs country is right across the river from Detroit. Whenever these two teams play, you can always hear "Go Leafs, go!" whether it be at the Joe or the new Little Caesars Arena.
Yeah, and that's everywhere. Leafs fans travel very well, and it really pisses a lot of people off. Phil, fake or authentic?
Okay, I'm going to say authentic, but just barely, because there are other teams outside of the division that draw well in terms of away support in Brooklyn. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it is in Brooklyn. But you've got the Boston Bruins. They always draw very well. The Montreal Canadiens draw well. The Toronto Maple Leafs do draw well. Not as well as the other two, but still very well to kind of annoy me.
I understand Boston, but who wants to pay money to see Montreal?
Seriously.
Montreal fans travel very well. They travel very well.
Yeah, but the Leafs never traded for David Abisher.
Yeah, the Leafs also employed what's his name? The goalie that we just mentioned.
Phil Kessel?
No.
Phil Kessel in net? Oh my goodness. That'd be like beer leagues.
Best Toskala.
Toski. That might not even be his nickname, but I just gave it to him.
Best Toskala, if you're listening to us, send us an email, concepts@hockeyjerseyconcepts.com.
What's
we
your
want
nickname?
you on the podcast.
I just called him Swiss cheese when he played for the Leafs.
Me and Ryan have a few choice words for you, and we want to give you a sticker. So, Best Toskala, please redeem your free HJC sticker.
Awesome. And there's no better way to go to the HJC mailbag than that. Mailbag. This is the HJC mailbag, and just wanted to start it off with Ken sent us something in that the Montreal Canadiens jersey, the mystery Montreal Canadiens jersey that we were talking about on the last podcast, the jersey actually does exist because Montreal tweeted out about 3 years ago a picture of a youth team that wears the jersey. So it doesn't exist in NHL history, but it does exist now for a youth team who's using the jersey and assuming that it's a Montreal Canadiens retro jersey, which it is not. Let's go to a question left by Shawn. This was about 3 months ago. Oh, we answered this last week, so we're not going to go to that question.
Whoops.
Let's go with okay. Burkus left a good question here. Assuming that the Montreal Canadiens jersey that doesn't exist, that we talked about last week, assuming that it does exist, where does it rank amongst other pre-NHL Habs jerseys? Shawn?
It's one of the lower ones because I love the 1910-11 jersey, or the the red one with the green and the leaf on it. That's a good one. I love the 09-10 jersey with the C with the stripe through it. I actually really like both of the 12-13, even the barber pole one. Montreal is Toronto's least relevant rival in my lifetime, but they look good. And I think that actually that is one of the weaker designs they've ever worn, with the exception of that one where they put champions on it.
You know what? I'm in favor of that. I think if you win the Stanley Cup, you should throw a badge or a patch on your jersey. Like, I like how MLB does it.
They do that in soccer. They put a star above your crest.
Yeah, TFC's wearing one coming up this season. Yeah.
Don't make it your primary logo. Don't get rid of your primary logo to say World Champions.
Right.
It doesn't look good in any sport. Put it on the arm. When the Habs had the Winter Classic with the globe on it, that looked beautiful. Do that. So
MLB
when Winnipeg
teams.
wins this year, Winnipeg wins the Cup this year, I want a big, beautiful cup patch right on the arm.
Or just outline their logos in gold. That wouldn't look too bad, actually. Kind of worked just a little bit.
It'd work with every team except for Florida.
Phil wants us to note that the Islanders just put
a fifth piece of tape on that stick.
Oh, brother.
That's all you need.
That's okay. If the Islanders ever won the Stanley Cup again at the team store, I'm sure they would sell little orange bands, and they'll offer to stitch them to your jersey to make your jerseys accurate. But we don't have to worry about that for a while.
Force you to sell brand new jerseys.
Yeah, exactly.
Black jerseys.
All right, getting back to the question, Ben, if you had to rank that mystery Habs jersey among other pre-NHL Habs jerseys, where does it sit for you?
Again, I'd put it on the lower end. I mean, when you think of Montreal, you think of the chest stripe. I think it's the weaker design. The diagonals have never really caught on. I mean, teams have tried it recently. I think Detroit in the Stadium Series, and no one's really gone back to it since.
Yeah, absolutely. Phil, where would you rank it?
Believe it or not, I think it's actually one of the better looking designs because, like Shawn mentioned, the red jersey with the green. I hated that one because green is not their color. I think a team can pull off a sash design on a hockey jersey. And I think the better choice for that kind of design style is from an older jersey, and that Habs jersey works for it. You've got the red and blue that you see in the exact pattern of the socks today, just in a diagonal stripe with that old English style C in the corner. And I think it looks great.
Yeah, I would have to. I mean, this one ranks low for me. The barber pole jersey probably ranks
the bottom.
Yeah, that probably ranks the lowest for me. The red and green jersey is just, that one's just weird. Plus the fact they're using a maple leaf on the front, which at the time didn't conflict with the Maple Leafs, but now as history has played out, that does kind of conflict. But my favorite pre-NHL Habs jersey is the blue one with the white stripe coming down from the shoulders and the C on the front. And I do like the alternate that they made for when they played the Senators for when they had their barber pole jersey, which was the initial blue chest stripe with a C. I think that one's pretty solid too. Yes, that should be brought back.
They should bring it out. Break it. Hashtag Montreal 12-13 Sens jersey.
It probably would have been a better option.
We may have to rework that hashtag, but we could make it happen.
We can make it happen. We have influence on HJC.
Fake or authentic. Shawn needs to get better at hashtags. All right. Next question. Oh, look at this one. Next question comes in. No name left with it. Hi, how are you? I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
Great.
Yep.
We're good.
We're recording a podcast now.
Yep.
I'm all hyped up for after the Islander game. What's up with
called the HJC podcast. We do it every Saturday. We post it. It's great.
We try at least.
And thank you for leaving that question. That was fantastic. Hi. You have very lovely handwriting.
And by the way, just to answer that question, bye.
Au revoir.
Bye. Au revoir.
And our very own friend of the show, Beepo, sent in, do you have any way of displaying any of your jerseys in your apartment or house or bedroom? And what is it? Shawn, what way do you like going about displaying your jerseys?
I take a hanger and I hang it up on the window and I let all my neighbors know which jersey I'm either drying because it's just been washed. I just really want them to look at. And sometimes I do that, particularly with my Nick Antropov Jets jersey. Right? You know, this could be a whole podcast. The opinion of Nick Antropov. Jets fans love him. Leaf fans shake their heads, and Rangers fans are somewhere in the middle.
I don't think the Rangers fans could even remember that they had Nick Antropov on their team.
Fact.
Ben, do you have any special way of displaying your jerseys?
You see, what I do is I'll put it over my head, and then I'll put my arm through the arm sleeve.
Whoa, slow down. I'm confused.
Yeah, I wear it. That's my display.
That's a good way. Shawn's trying to do it right now. If you could email him those instructions, because he seems to be stuck inside his jersey. Yeah, he did it all wrong. He put the right in the left. Yeah,
We'll
again,
do that on our next demo.
Next demo, how to wear a jersey.
Phil, any way of displaying your jerseys?
Well, I have a couple hanging up on my closet door, just mainly so you guys can see it when we have the podcast running, but it's a little dark in my room, so obviously you can't see them. Other than that, they're just sitting in my closet because I don't display my jerseys really, unless I have one hanging on the closet door because I want to wear it the next day. So, I mean, I don't really go out of my way to display them.
Yeah, I only hang them up behind me for the podcast, so just the guests can see.
Different ones each week.
I try to change it up. Yeah. Just bought a simple stand from Amazon, background stand, hang them up on there. Falls over sometimes, but that's what you get for $35. I would love to have some sort of stand that holds them up and displays on a table in some way. But I don't want to leave any kind of permanent hanger marks on the shoulders of the jersey. That's always a concern for me. One thing that I will never do, it's not for me, is autographed jersey framed hanging on the wall. To me, it's two wastes of a jersey. Autographed jersey, I don't like those. And a jersey in a frame, you can't see the other side, so that's not really.
Now, some of them you can, but they're very expensive.
Yeah.
There are frames in which you can flip them around and like that. Because I have a signed Michael Pekka Islanders jersey that I got for $90 because the guy couldn't sell it for some reason. It was when the Islanders had Joey McDonald as their starter.
Ugh, gross. Don't remind me. It was just as bad as Toscala.
So for $90, getting not only a perfectly customized Michael Pekka jersey, but it's signed.
Yeah.
And signed. I agree with Ryan on this. Signed jerseys are something that I don't like because I like to wear my jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
And people give you looks when you wear signed jerseys. And it's like, well, if I didn't drop $1,000 on it and it's Michael Pekka, I'm pretty sure I can find him to re-sign it if the signature comes off. Like,
I'm old enough now where I'm past the autograph stage. It's just someone writing on something. It has no meaning. The only person that would have meaning would be like Jeff Reese. Come on, he already sent me something. I was 6 years old. I wrote him a letter, drew him a picture, and he took the time to type up a letter and send it back to me, and sent me a hand-signed picture. And now he's
I don't know if Nick Antropov signed my Jets jersey. That would be huge.
I would kick him in the balls if he. Screw you, Antropov. Oh, my groin.
Let's go. How dare you sign something for someone I work with?
This is the worst thing is because Ryan was at an Oshawa Generals game where his son plays.
Yeah.
So now the Antropovs are not happy with HJC.
And his son skates just like his father. And at the game I was at, he was a non-factor, just like his father.
You know, a lot of guys, they're when they're over 6 feet, they're not relevant. Not an Oshawa boy like Nick Antropov.
I forget what his son's name is too, but yeah,
Nick Jr.
Nick Jr.
I hope you saw me doing the Don Cherry hands on the desk motion as you were doing
the
that.
keyboard playing.
The keyboard playing just violently up and down.
Yeah, I mean, I would love a display like the Hockey Hall of Fame has to display jerseys, but that's for someday when I just have.
There's certain jerseys that you have to get framed, like a Daryl Sittler Leafs jersey from that 10-point game.
I would need it in a case, and I want a 360 view of it. If I framed it and put it on the wall, it would again.
But it's
it
not
would
something
just
you
bother
display on a hanger or on your body.
No, that would be a tough one. Like,
I think framed jerseys look really cheap because when you see them, I mean, half of them are fake.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're like the kind of thing that
half
you
is
see.
being generous.
Like when you went, I don't know if they have these in the U.S., but at the front of Canadian grocery stores, there's like I don't know what charity it is or what organization it is, but they auction off like paintings and like stuff for man caves.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get a framed jersey, and I look at them like, this is a fake.
Yeah.
Or it's a Reebok Premier that they heat sealed some numbers to, that the player signed off the jersey. Like they're one of those player kits with a Z.
Mm-hmm.
That, and it just reeks of like, yeah, I'm a hockey fan. I got this. It was $200, and it's like, okay,
that's not even worth $200.
Do you know?
The frame alone is $199 at that point.
Do you know when Tom Barrasso played for the Leafs? Like,
I love walking into like a sports bar that doesn't have the NHL sponsorship. So if you look around at all the jerseys on the wall, they're all the fake jerseys. That's tremendous. And you can't talk to anybody about it because they all look at you like, who cares? Just drink the beer.
Just drink your Bud Light, man. Bud Light and watch your MMA, most sports bars.
All right. That was the mailbag for this week. And if you want to leave a question in the mailbag and have it answered on the podcast, there's a form on the right side of the page on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com, and you just leave your question there. Be sure to leave your name or else we will take a dig at you. And you can also email your question in mailbag@hockeyjerseyconcepts.com.
Where's that Herm Edwards soundbite when you need it? Put your name on it.
Herm Edwards, he also did playoffs, right? He's the playoff soundbite guy?
No, that's Jim Mora.
Yeah, that was Jim
Playoffs.
Mora. He was you play to win the game.
You play to win the game.
Hello.
You know what? I'm just going to say this now before it happens. This is the 30th anniversary. This year will be the 30th anniversary of Jim Schoenfield's. Yeah, you fell because you're a fat pig.
Oh, the fat pig?
You fat pig. One of the all-time great hockey sound bites is turning 30 this year, so I encourage everybody to have a donut. Be a fat pig.
Cheers.
Mid-April. And cheers to Jim Schoenfield.
Oh, man. He was good at throwing stuff on the ice, too. Benches, sticks.
Oh, yeah.
He was fantastic.
But it's
Players.
what a time, 1988. We could throw a player on the ice.
Yeah. Come on, coach. And then the ref would give him a too many men penalty. You know it.
It's the player's fault somehow, and then they bench him.
Anyway.
That's pretty much what we got for you for this week. Just a reminder that the voting for week 2 of the season is going on. Just quick thoughts. What do you guys think of the season? Quality of entries? And maybe, I don't know if you can pick a favorite or just one concept that comes to mind. Shawn?
I am a huge fan of whoever made that beautiful Marlies concept. It's not my favorite, but I'm a big fan of it. The Minnesota North Stars jersey. I mean, it's a very safe design. I really like it. And the North Bay Centennials.
Ben, have you got a chance to look at the season and just a jersey that sticks out?
Yeah, I think there's a really good matchup this week. It's the Solar Bears against the Marlies, and that could very easily be like the championship in week 2 there.
Yeah, and I think they're in the same division, so that it may even end up deciding that division. Phil, just an entry that sticks out for you.
Definitely the Orlando Solar Bears. Like the way that they can work all those colors into that one set is brilliant. So I like that. My thoughts on the season so far. I think things have been going as many people would predicted that jerseys would go. And just generally speaking, the concepts this year are of a lot better quality than they were last year. So hats off to everyone who's participating this year.
Yeah, it seems quite tight, and I don't think there's too many entries that are going to get blown out of the water this year. So
right, like the Washington Capitals, who were non-existent for 2 weeks.
Oh, the season last time we did, and last time we did it was actually near the end of 2016, I think. So there's been more. There's been more than a year. Yeah.
I was the Bruins. I didn't do well.
I made the playoffs with the Islanders, so
You were the Islanders?
yeah.
What a shock
on that one.
Yeah, who would you be this time? I don't know.
We're not talking about that, Shawn, but awesome.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not. I don't know. I think Phil is Team Brazil.
Oh yeah, Phil's a big Brazil fan. Yeah,
because I think you might be Team Brazil.
No, I am the Winnipeg Jets.
Also going on this week is the Concept of the Week vote, and Concept of the Year has been decided, as we talked about last week. Jake won that, and his championship plaque is on the way. So, Jake, hopefully you take some pictures of that and send it in. I know everyone would like to see that. And, of course, we have HJC stickers for sale and Jersey Casual shirts for sale. That's on the website.
And also don't forget, you also you were mentioning the votes. Concept of the year January. The January vote's up too.
The Concept of the Week January vote is up too. 5 winners from January. Myself, a couple from Brendan. Who else? I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's always, the monthly votes are always a tight vote. I always love the monthly votes. So, Shawn, thanks for joining me this week.
I am always glad to be on here and always name drop all those memorable Leafs you and I remember from post-lockout to 2014. I'm always glad to name drop those guys. And
Ben, thanks for joining us on the Leafs-themed podcast.
That was very unbiased, and I'm glad to have contributed to that.
And Phil, I appreciate your efforts to pepper our Leafs podcast with Islanders content. Thank you for that.
Well, not only that, but I think that, like, the worst effort that I had was like everything's all Leafs, Montreal. So you're welcome.
Is the most famous Leaf to play for both the Leafs and the Islanders? Who is it? Kenny Johnson or Mike Pekka? Who are you taking?
Neither. Wendell Clark.
Wendell Clark. Oh, he wore the fisherman too. Darn.
Yes, he did wear the fisherman.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's Matthew Schneider, Kirk Muller.
Matthew Schneider, I remember.
That was a good one. Thomas Caberlet, Brian McCabe.
I hated Brian McCabe.
Caberlet never played for the Islanders.
I got to say Robert Reichel.
Robert Reichel, good one.
Nobody in Toronto. You know what's funny? Robert Reichel in Toronto was the player that everybody goes to. Like, remember when the Leafs were good? Do you remember Robert Reichel?
Number 21.
Robert Reichel wasn't good.
No,
he wasn't bad. It's just he wasn't great.
He had a good year with Calgary.
He did. He had a great year with New York. He played well with Toronto. It's just like I wouldn't sit there and go, yeah, Robert Reichel's number 21 should be right up there next to Salmings.
Of course, my favorite Leaf Islander of all time, number 58 with the Islanders, Felix Potvin.
28.
Well, first game was in Montreal, and they gave him 55 or 58 or something like that.
Fugazi number like that, but no, he was trash when he was with the Islanders.
How dare you, Phil? How dare you talk
Never assault Potvin on this podcast.
Okay, hold on. Let me just say this right now. Potvin sucks.
Say one nice thing about his mask, or we end it now.
Okay, Shawn completely missed that joke, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's a good time to end the podcast.
Yeah. We'll end it on Felix Potvin was the greatest Potvin ever to play for the Islanders. And everyone knows it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining me. Don't forget, you can listen, download, share, and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, Stitcher, all sorts of different podcatchers. You can catch it on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. And, of course, we'd love to hear your feedback. That would help us improve the show and get involved in our conversations. Start leaving comments. We'd love to see what you guys say about that. And don't forget, you guys got to break the tie for Throwback Throwdown. The Leafs 2008 alternate tied the 2011 Leafs alternate. Leave some comments. Let us know who won that. And that was our Toronto Maple Leafs themed HJC podcast. We'll talk to everybody next week.
Game over! Bless you, boys! What a game!